I've never brought anyone to the drag races that has never been to the drag races that didn't instantly think this is the coolest thing I've ever seen. And so if you're on the fence about whether or not you want to come because it's I can watch it on TV. No, you can't watch it on TV. You can't smell nitro. You can't feel sound. You can't. Every sense that you have is stimulated by a Top Fuel car. When you feel the ground shake and the car alarms out here a mile away go off, and you're crying because you don't want to, and you're coughing because it's so bad for you, and it's the fastest, most accelerating or quickest accelerating vehicle in the world, and you're standing there watching it thinking that guy is a little bitty guy and he's an idiot. There's nothing to describe it. And so back to how I started that, I've never brought anyone to the drag races that was kind of on the fence about it, that didn't leave, and they're like, man, that's the coolest thing I've ever seen, and how do I get down there? And then they call you 2 weeks later and like, man, we were watching it at home this weekend, and we had the surround sound on and the TV as loud as it would go, and I'm standing there in the living room jumping, because once you experience it, you're like, man, that guy has completely lost it. He is off of his rocker. He climbed in a little bitty antenna, laid over sideways, strapped himself to it, and they sent him down through there at 335 mile an hour. Something is wrong with that guy. And people love watching it because there's fire going everywhere, and they blow up, and all kinds of stuff. The things that you like to see, I don't like to experience, but it's fun.
I've never had a new fan that's been disappointed. You know what I mean? I've always we'll have people come up there like, hey, it's my first drag race. It's like, take 2 minutes, come back, and tell me what you think. And to this day, in the last 20 years, I've not had anybody ever disappointed with NHRA drag race. And they're like, oh my God, why haven't I figured this out sooner? Where's this been my entire life? When you get up in the grandstands and you're at the very top and it still shakes every organ in your body, that's just raw power you can't get anywhere else, and it's one of those things you can't replace that. It takes the whole NASCAR field to make up two of these funny cars sitting out there. You know what I mean? So it's just power. You know what I mean? And it's just kind of one of those things where you only get it one time. In these different places that we hit on the circuits. You know what I'm saying? So I think the new fans will become long-term fans, and it's one of those things. If they take the time to really come out and break it down and bring their family out, I think they'll be back again in the future.
Yeah, same as last year. I think last year sold out, if I remember right, and today looked like it basically sold out. It's incredible. Everyone kept saying, "Oh, drag racing is dying," but you look in the stands, it does not look like it at all. And especially being on bikes, most of the people are here for nitro and so on. And but I think the one thing that people don't realize as far as pro stock motorcycle, pro stock car, is how hard these motorcycles and cars are to drive. They take a lot more of rider ability to get these things down the track consistently every pass and so on and so forth. And not only that, but I think there's been a lot of excitement in pro stock motorcycle as far as drama-wise, political stuff, and I think that's drawing in a lot of fans, that are getting back into motorcycle, and it's really good for the class.
What else are you going to do? It's Sunday. Show up. Yeah, Gator Nationals. Obviously it's the baddest sport on the planet. Where else do you get? The coolest thing, big fan of Braun Strowman. And he was out there on the starting line. I got to talk to him a little bit pre-race, but it's hearing those stories where they come in, they're like, man, this is awesome, and you just feel it, and you hear their stories about it. It kind of gets you a little excited. You know what I mean? Sometimes you just kind of not take for granted what you do, but you just kind of go through your emotions. It's at the end of the day, you're doing your job, but then you get that kind of excitement level again. You're like, hey, this is pretty badass.
Well, no, what I can tell you about that is plain and simple. This is all access. What other sport gives you a GA ticket that gives you all access? I was that kid when I was 10 years old, and I walked up to Dave Schultz, Big Daddy Don Garlett's pit, and they invite me in. And when I got to touch that car, sit on that motorcycle, it gave this kid hope from Chesterfield, New Jersey, a South Country boy, hope to say, I could be here one day, because I saw myself there. And then people always ask you, what does it feel like to be at a drag racetrack? What does it feel like when a nitro car leaves the starting line? I tell them, I said, how do you describe that in one word? You know how you describe that in one word, Noah?